Imagine this: the world's top two economies locked in an all-out trade war. Who will emerge victorious from this struggle? Today, we're dissecting the reasons why the United States is ultimately destined to prevail in its trade war with China, presenting a strong argument from the American perspective. For decades, China grew into the world's factory after joining the WTO. But its methods have always been contentious. American companies suffered intellectual property theft, were forced into technology transfers, and faced unfair treatment in the Chinese market. China systematically engaged in unfair trade practices, such as government subsidies for its domestic firms and currency manipulation, to gain artificial price competitiveness, essentially disregarding the fundamental principles of a market economy. Could the U.S. really continue to tolerate such blatant unfairness? When the U.S. deployed the powerful weapon of tariffs, it wasn't merely about reducing trade deficits. This was an unavoidable measure to restore fair and reciprocal trade practices, and to protect America's critical technologies and industries. Until China genuinely transitions to a market-based economic system, this pressure will continue, and the U.S. is poised to win this fight. First, America's market size and consumer power are overwhelming. China's economy heavily relies on exports, especially to the U.S. When the U.S. imposes tariffs on Chinese goods, Chinese companies face immense repercussions, while American consumers can find alternatives. It's incredibly difficult for Chinese firms to find alternative markets as large as the U.S. market. Losing access to the world's largest consumer market is devastating for the Chinese economy. Second, the U.S. maintains an undeniable edge in innovation and technology. Regardless of how quickly China attempts to catch up, America's fundamental innovation, ecosystem and cutting-edge technological capabilities remain world-leading. Crucially, it's the U.S. that holds the reins in future industries like advanced semiconductors, AI, and biotechnology. China's practices of technology theft and forced transfers were plundering America's vital assets, and the U.S. is imposing strong sanctions to stop this. As long as the U.S. controls key technology supply chains, China will inevitably face limitations. Third, America's alliance network is robust. The U.S. has built a powerful network of economic and security alliances across the globe. The more China pursues unilateral trade policies, the more key allies like South Korea, Japan, and European nations will align with the U.S. to intensify pressure on China. If the world unites against unfair trade, China will be unable to avoid isolation. Certainly, a trade war can inflict some damage on both sides. However, from a long-term perspective, the U.S. is in a significantly more advantageous position than China. Thanks to its economic flexibility, market size, innovation capabilities, and the strength of its alliance network, the U.S. tariff war is not merely a retreat into protectionism. It is an inevitable, albeit challenging, strategic endeavor to re-establish a fair and transparent global trade order that ultimately benefits everyone. Do you believe the U.S. is destined to win the trade war with China? Or do you think China will find new avenues and successfully retaliate? Share your fierce opinions and supporting evidence in the comments below. Historical mysteries ignite our imagination and offer profound insights into understanding the present through the past. Next time, can you believe it, we'll return with more astonishing historical truths and debates to satisfy your intellectual curiosity. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell. Thank you.